there are two of the most famous images of Christ the King that I want you to see. And so for the first one, I would like you to Google Christ the King Ghent, G-H-E-N-T, altarpiece. And for those who have the paper, it is the smaller one on the front side.
Christ the King what?
Ghent altarpiece. And Ghent is spelled G-H-E-N-T. Has everyone found it? So, Jesus is definitely a king in this image. He's imposing in distance. He is wearing all of the finery that you would expect to see on a monarch. I can imagine this version of Jesus doling out royal decrees and pronouncing sentences, all with the detached manner that royals just seem to master. In images, Christ the King, much of the time, is bedecked in jewels, is wearing crowns, fancy robes, and usually looks angry. Or at the very least, he looks quite stern, like this figure. For the next image, I'd like you to Google Christ in Majesty National Christ in Majesty National Shrine. For those of you with the paper, it is the one on the back side. Has everyone found it? Gone take a brief look at it. This image comes from the Basilica of the Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. And you can't see it if you have the paper, but I encourage you to look at it in color because you can see that glaring through Jesus's ethnically inaccurate blue eyes and blonde hair, his arms are held up strongly, and he looks like he's a bodybuilder with his muscles all pronounced, and surrounding his head in the halo, there are flames of fire spewing out. This version of Christ the King brings judgment on any and all who don't listen to his ways or to dare cross him. I actually find this version of Jesus to be quite terrifying. For these and so many other representations, it's easily apparent that the Pope believed we need a new rival king who would rule creation with an iron fist and also be its condemning judge. The Pope wasn't alone in that thinking. 300 years previous, the Feast of Christ the King was known in the Church of Sweden as Domsöndagen. This translates to Judgment Sunday, or in a slightly different translation, the Sunday of Doom. It's lovely, right? Let's go to church for the Sunday of Doom. Christ the King, when Christ is the King, he is distant and in fine array, ready to judge harshly. And honestly, I think is incompatible with who Jesus is. By human standards, the female giant Pacific octopus leads a tragic life. While being one of the most long-lived species at 3 to 5 years, octopus mothers face a slow and steady demise. After they lay their eggs, they guard them with a myopic purpose. She stops eating. She doesn't swim. And once her eggs hatch, she is spent and dies from starvation and inactivity. She sacrifices her own life for her offspring. It is the greatest way for her to love her young, as this affords them the best chance at survival. Jesus has far more in common with this octopus than the kings of the world. In a sense, today's gospel tells us of Jesus' coronation. When they come to the place that is called the skull, they crucify Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Judeans." The cross is Jesus' throne. It is also the implement of his death. They go hand in hand. His reign, though, is one of love. His reign is one of love, and Jesus makes good on the words he has said previously. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And it is precisely because of this reign of love that Jesus cannot be a king. A monarch and empire, they go hand in hand. But the cross is the antithesis of empire. The cross and the empire will always be at odds, because the cross is a throne based on love, and empire has no place for love. Wars have never been fought because of love. Currency isn't printed to show love. Nationalism is a perversion of love. Now let's be clear that one bandit on the cross next to Jesus is wrong. Jesus is guilty as he hangs on that cross. Jesus is guilty of sedition, of preaching a new society, one that exists out of love and is necessarily counter to the empire. Jesus committed treason, and the powers that be crushed him. They crushed him so that his infectious idea that love and not power are the be-all and end-all would be stamped out. Like the octopus, Jesus cares for his loves with his life. Jesus is very much a mother. It used to be thought that if its young were crying, a pelican would pierce her own breast with her beak and feed the blood to her hungry young. Because of this self-sacrificial idea that went along with the pelican, it also became an animal that became a symbol for Jesus in arts and in architecture. Or take the hare. Rabbits, their cousins, are timid and skittish. But it was once believed that if one hare was in danger, say it was being chased by a coyote, another hare would join in the chase and chase after that coyote and pounce on that coyote at risk of death to itself, all so that the other hare could take a moment to rest and find safety. Hares have also been used as a symbol of Jesus. Then there is the image of the mother hen who opens up her arms and gathers up her brood to protect them. Jesus uses this language for himself. And it's interesting, the hen doesn't eradicate any potential danger. It's still there. But she ensures her chicks She assures her chicks that she is there for them and protecting them, even if it means a cost to her own life. There's a beautiful mosaic of a hen scooping up her chicks on the altar in the Dominus Flavit Church in the Mount of Olives. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. The struggles Pope Pius XI saw, class division and nationalism, cannot be remedied with another king. We don't need more personality struggles and bickering. What we need is a loving mother figure who will help shape and change society. Rulers aren't the answer to these struggles. Love and caring are. So instead of Christ the King, I propose Jesus the Mother, Jesus the octopus, Jesus the pelican, Jesus the hare, Jesus the hen. All hail Jesus the Mother. May your reign come.